What's a dead giveaway that someone has low intelligence? They have a hard time understanding how a concept in one context could apply to another context. Nice to see an example of an actual indicator of intelligence, or lack of it, rather than people just associating intelligence with positive traits. Goes to show the indication of intelligence the average Redditor has. Often wrong but never in doubt. Now I believe you met my in-laws. My ex-MIL once debated me for half an hour that dry measuring cups, like the scoops, and wet measuring cups, glass vessel with measurements, held different volume. I had to go scoop out a cup of flour and dump it into the Pyrex for her to understand that 1 cup is 1 cup, no matter the vessel. ETA, the debate wasn't whether or not using dry cups or wet cups matter. I actually think it does, and use the appropriate measurement vessel when I bake. The debate was that 1 to 1 they are different, and they aren't. The volume of 1 cup is 1 cup no matter the vessel. Then she was convinced that a pound of lead/steel is way more heavier than a pound of feathers. Everyone knows a pound of feathers weighs more than a pound of lead or steel, because of the added psychological weight of what you did to those poor birds. See, the whole alien mummies hysteria going around Reddit right now. We must be roaming around very different parts of Reddit, haven't seen a single thing about it here, luckily. Man, it's all over my popular feed. I've had to mute a lot of subreddits cause it was a pain in the ass. They tell you about the time they scored 450 in an online IQ test. Over my years of the early internet, it was always easy to spot to a pseudo-intellectual by how readily they dropped 200 or close to 200 as their score. Because they didn't know that's a ludicrous score to lie about. I once did a test and it told me my result is outside the range it could measure. That's a good thing, right? The standard test measures for standard scores. If you score high or low, your results would show up as disproportionately higher or lower than they actually would be, if I remember right, and they would have to have you take another test more suited to your level. At least that's how it was when I was tested. I got a nice little pat on the back with the bragging rights I had with my results, but now I have brain damage and, while people who didn't know me before the injury don't notice anything unusual, everyone that knew me before has noticed that I'm quite a bit slower than I used to be. Don't watch Inside Out and don't read Flowers for Algernon. People don't understand that you're grieving a loss. The old you has died and is never coming back. You would get sympathy if you lost a child or relative, but when you've lost a piece of yourself, no one really understands that. If you try to explain it, they'll just say that you seem fine or that you seem pretty smart to me. But you know, seeming smart is not the same as actually being smart. There is a qualitative difference in capability. If you lost a limb, people would understand that you grieve the loss of capability. But for some reason, when you lose an indeterminate amount of intellectual capability, no one really cares. I've adapted to the loss of capability, but it still frustrates me often when I can't do the things I used to be able to do. They think they're always right. Not curious/open to learning. An uncurious mind is always the biggest giveaway to me that someone lacks intelligence. Deadass confuses me. I got diagnosed last year with ADHD. My old man's done research on it. My mom doesn't seem to give a fuck enough to look even basic shit up. I've been diagnosed with ADHD for a decade at least. My mom still calls it a D&D like I'm diagnosed with MFN Dungeons and Dragons or something. Instead of having a good point in an argument, they call you names and insult you. Have a coworker like this. Take the time to listen to her company plainta, try to interject my point and she talks over me. She cries how I'm hurting her feelings. She's a simple-minded fuckwit. My neighbor is like this, parks across my driveway blocking us and /out, has visitors of his crash into our fence, twice, and then screams at me because the fence is leaning into his garden because of the crash damage. He genuinely thinks he can park anywhere and nobody can do anything about it. If you try and talk reason with him he just screams. No critical thought. I knew a lady who got suspicious of the donkey charity adverts on TV because if they're helping new donkeys, why are they still showing the old ones? It's actually spelled Don Quixote. One sign that a person is stupid is that they went their entire fucking life not realizing that the name Don Quixote sounds out donkey in its first 2 syllables until today. That person is me. I am stupid. A lot of comments here describing mean /rude/asshole low IQ PPL. Some low IQ PPL are extremely kind and have a tough time in society because they get used. Some people with cognitive disabilities deal with this too, such kind, gentle people, that spend their lives being walked all over. I have ADHD and autism. I'm actually fairly intelligent but I can't get any of it out gracefully so I get labeled as dumb a lot. It's the recalling of what I know in real time that everyone gets caught up on. Never mind that I know more about probably anything. I just need help getting it out in a way that doesn't make me sound scatterbrained. Yeah, I have a low IQ, was assessed when diagnosed with autism, and it's really frustrating to not understand things, but I do not go out of my way to be mean. I get angry easily, but I mostly just cry and go off to be alone when I'm like that. No need to take it out on everyone else. I'm the same as you. I've been called simple-minded and it hurts a lot, even though I do my best to understand. I think it's okay. There must be tons of things we do good despite the low score. Those numbers aren't our worth as people. They don't just not take the time to listen to other opinions, they actively shoot them down. A lot of debates you see online are going to be people trying to yell over one another. Most of the time, people pick apart grammatical errors or things that they didn't phrase right and use it as the base of their whole argument. An intellectual debate shouldn't include yelling. Hear another person out before disagreeing with them. Honestly, this is why I think they should make debate mandatory in school. Teach people how to disagree with a little bit of respect. Poor spellcasting ability, below average investigation and arcana checks. Rude. I cast the spell of uneven shoelaces upon thee. Pray that I do not summon the dark magic of uninterruptible YouTube commercials next. You fool, I always have the ward of adblock active, telling you how smart they are. I like using big words. They make me sound more photosynthesis. That's pretty mitochondria of you, to be honest. If they use Reddit, except for me. Dang, I'd be awfully upset about this if I knew how to read. The tricky part is that people can be extremely smart in some areas while being completely stupid in other ones. So there is no universal indicator, I believe. Yeah, this should be much more upvoted. I still remember the first time I was talking with a PhD, and I realized, internally, oh, wow, this guy is kind of an idiot. And it's so true. I'm sure he's brilliant in his field, but his awareness of his own limits was severely lacking. Edit, I didn't mean all, or even most, PhDs. I just meant that the existence of some ignorant/dumb PhDs is a strong example of the fact that people can be extremely smart in some areas while being completely stupid in other ones. E.g., chemists who publicly denigrate climate science, philosophers who publicly denigrate evolutionary biology, civil engineers who publicly denigrate immunology, or, yes, PhDs who can't open their email or check engine oil. The same sort of thing could be said about a master tradesman who is a practical genius with excellent craftsmanship, but who insists that the earth is flat. But none of this means that everyone with a PhD or a master trade certification is automatically proud/stupid in other areas. Some experts are very humble, multi-talented, emotionally aware, and very aware of the limits of their learning and expertise. Lack of curiosity. I kind of agree with you, but then there are clever people who have just given up. A stupid person and a clever person with mental health issues may show the same lack of curiosity. I'm so glad you said this. I used to be so curious and love to deep dive into interesting ideas, but after my mental health decline I had to stop doing that because it became a trigger for me to start spiraling. I had to train myself to focus on the moment and not think. Now my mental health is on point, but I did lose some of my curiosity and love for thinking about random shit. Not trying to figure something out before they ask for help/no desire to learn. Please do this for me instead of please show me how to do this. Thank you for watching. Let us know what signs of low intelligence you know in the comments below the video.